How to make your first million using AI. Let me start with something bold. If I lost everything today, no money, no connections, no safety net, but I still had access to AI, I would be confident, very confident, that I could build my first million again. Not because I'm smarter, not because I have some secret advantage, but because the rules of making money have changed. We are living through one of the biggest economic shifts in modern history. The kind of shift that creates entirely new winners and quietly replaces those who refuse to adapt. Think about it. There was a time when the internet was new. Most people ignored it, but a few individuals paid attention. People like Jeff Bezos didn't wait for everyone else to understand online business. He moved early and built Amazon into one of the most powerful companies in the world. Now look at Elon Musk. He didn't succeed by following trends. He positioned himself ahead of them. Electric vehicles? He built Tesla before the world fully believed in them. Space travel? He launched SpaceX when private space companies sounded unrealistic. And now, he's investing heavily in artificial intelligence because he understands something most people don't. Every major shift creates a window of opportunity, and AI is that window. But here's the truth. AI itself is not what creates wealth. Leverage does. AI just gives it to you faster. If you understand how to use AI properly, you don't just save time, you multiply output, you compress effort, and that's how wealth is built. Before we break this down, if you want to stay ahead of opportunities like this and learn how to actually turn them into income, subscribe to Money Mindship, because on this channel, we don't just talk about making money. We talk about building leverage, positioning early, and creating real financial growth. 1. I would start with one monetizable skill. This is where most people go wrong. They start with tools. If they jump from one AI app to another, trying everything, mastering nothing. But tools don't make money, skills do. If I had to rebuild from scratch, I would pick one high-income skill that solves a real problem, has clear demand, can be enhanced using AI. For example, copywriting, content creation, marketing, sales. Why these? Because businesses are always willing to pay for results. More customers, more attention, more revenue. AI doesn't change that, it amplifies it. Let's take an example. Elon Musk didn't become successful because of tools alone. He built expertise in engineering, business, and strategy. Then he used technology to scale that knowledge. That's the difference. Skill first, tools second. Because if you understand the skill, AI makes you faster. If you don't, AI makes you confused. So step 1 is simple. Pick one skill, focus on it, and ignore everything else. 2, I would learn fast, but execute faster. Now this is where most people get stuck. They stay in learning mode, watching videos, taking notes, planning endlessly, but they never start. If I wanted to move fast, I would flip that approach. I would spend 30% learning, 70% doing, because real understanding comes from action. Let's say I choose content creation. I wouldn't wait until I feel confident. I would start immediately, posting content, testing ideas, improving with each attempt. Yes, it would be imperfect. Yes, it might fail. But that's the point, because in today's economy, speed beats perfection. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. He didn't wait until Facebook was perfect before launching. He built, tested, and improved in real time. That speed created momentum, and momentum creates opportunity. The market doesn't reward those who prepare forever. It rewards those who execute. So instead of asking, am I ready? Ask, am I moving? 3, I would use AI to create value at scale. This is where AI becomes powerful, because most people use it to save time, but I would use it to make money. There's a big difference. Saving time feels productive, but creating value is what pays. Instead of producing one output, I would produce 10. Instead of reaching one client, I would reach many. AI allows you to scale output without scaling effort. For example, if I'm creating content, AI helps generate ideas. AI helps write scripts. AI helps repurpose content. AI helps automate publishing. Now I'm operating at a level that normally requires a team, but it's just me. That's leverage. And this is exactly how many individuals are building income today. By doing more, faster, with fewer resources. Even companies like Meta are restructuring around AI to increase efficiency and scale. Why? Because output matters, and AI multiplies output. 4, I would focus on solving one painful problem. This is where the real money is, not in AI itself, but in what AI allows you to solve. Because people don't pay for technology, they pay for solutions. Businesses don't wake up thinking, I need AI. They wake up thinking, I need more customers. I need more sales. I need better results. If you can use AI to deliver those outcomes, you get paid. Think about this. A business struggles with content. You use AI to generate ideas, create posts, improve consistency. You solve their problem. They pay you. Simple but powerful. This is exactly how new wealth is being created today, not through complexity, but through solving real problems efficiently. And right now, there's a massive gap because businesses know AI matters, but they don't know how to use it. That gap, now that you understand the foundation, let's move to the part that actually changes your financial situation, because knowledge without execution is just entertainment. 5, I would start making money before feeling ready. Let me say something that most people avoid. You will never feel ready, not fully, not completely, not confidently. And if you wait for that moment, you'll be waiting forever. So if I had to start from zero, I would start making money as soon as possible. Even if I'm not perfect, even if I'm still learning, because confidence does not come before action, it comes after. Let's be practical. If I've learned a basic skill, let's say content creation or copywriting, I wouldn't wait until I master it. I would reach out to small businesses, offer simple services, charge something, even if it's small. Why? Because the goal is not perfection. The goal is momentum. Look at Denzel Washington. He once said that without commitment, you'll never start. And without consistency, you'll never finish. That applies here. You don't start when you're ready, you start when you decide. Once you get your first result, everything changes. You gain confidence, experience, and direction, and now you're no longer guessing. You're building. 6, I would reinvest aggressively into growth. Now here's where most people slow down. They make their first money, and then they switch into protection mode. They try to save everything, avoid spending, play it safe. But if your goal is to reach your first million, that mindset will slow you down. Because early stages require expansion, not protection. If I start earning, I reinvest immediately, strategically. Into what? Better tools, better systems, better knowledge, better distribution. Because growth compounds. Let's look at Elon Musk again. When he sold PayPal, he didn't sit comfortably. He reinvested heavily into Tesla and SpaceX. Was it risky? Yes. Was it strategic? Absolutely. That reinvestment created exponential returns. Now you don't need to take that level of risk. But the principle matters. Money sitting still doesn't grow. Money deployed intelligently multiplies. So instead of asking, how do I protect this money? Ask, how do I use this to grow faster? That shift changes everything. 7, I would build systems, not just income. This is the final step. And this is where most people stop too early. They make money, but they never build systems. And that keeps them stuck. Because income alone is not wealth. Income requires effort. Wealth requires leverage. So once I start earning, I stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a builder. Instead of asking, how do I make money today? I ask, how do I build something that keeps making money? This is where AI becomes extremely powerful, because now you can automate content, automate lead generation, automate client systems, build digital products. Let me give you a simple example. If you're creating content, you don't just post randomly. You build a system, content to audience to offer. Now every piece of content becomes an asset. Look at modern creators. They don't just work, they build ecosystems, and that's why they scale. Even companies like Tesla operate on systems, production systems, distribution systems, innovation systems. That's how they grow. So if I wanted to reach 1 million, I wouldn't rely on effort alone. I would build structures that keep producing results. Because once systems are in place, growth becomes predictable, and predictable growth is what creates real wealth. Conclusion. Right now, we are living through one of the greatest wealth shifts in modern history. Not a small change, not a temporary trend. A complete transformation of how value is created, how money moves, and who gets rewarded. AI is not just changing how we work, it's changing who wins. Because for the first time in history, one individual with the right mindset and the right tools can compete with entire companies. Think about that. What used to require teams, capital, and years of effort can now be done faster, smarter, and with far less friction. But here's what most people don't realize. Opportunities like this don't stay obvious for long. They reward the early. They reward the decisive. They reward those willing to move before everything feels certain. And like every major shift before it, there are two types of people. Those who recognize what's happening, adapt quickly, take imperfect action, and position themselves ahead of the curve, and those who hesitate. They analyze it, they wait for clarity. They tell themselves, I'll start when I understand it better. But by the time it feels clear, the advantage is already gone. And years later, they look back and say, I saw it, but I didn't move. The tools are here. The information is everywhere. The barriers are lower than ever. But none of that matters without action. Because the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is not intelligence. It's not background. It's not luck. It's execution. It's the willingness to start before you feel ready, to move before you feel confident, to build while others are still thinking. So the real question is not, is this opportunity real? The real question is, what are you going to do with it? Because in the next 12 to 24 months, the gap between those who act and those who hesitate is going to become very obvious. And once that gap forms, it becomes very difficult to close. So don't aim for perfection. Don't wait for certainty. Don't overthink your first step. See you in the next one.